we want to initiate this fifth version with a lot of passion, inshallah. Innovation in action. What is innovation in action, guys? So actually, we are all want to work on innovation, but how to turn innovation into action? This is the major challenge. Many people are very innovative. Few people turn their innovation into action, into something useful. So this will be really the core of our talk today, inshallah. So can we have the screen here, please? I don't see it. Yes. So how to seems have some challenge here. Just bear with us 1 second. Can we start? Yeah. Innovation in action. Are you ready with the presentation? Okay, let's let's move. So you know, everybody, every year we have new challenges. By the way, I'm starting to speak in English. I don't know if I should speak in English or in Arabic. I know that the majority of the people are Arabic speakers. Do we have any non-Arabic speakers in the session? So that I know, so please give some signs if I should switch between Arabic or English. So it seems that we have some non-Arabic speakers, so we'll mainly be in English, okay? So as usual, the hackathon has some themes. The hackathon is about action. The hackathon likes the innovation. We are seeking your innovation, but the hackathon is about action. So that's why you'll see always that the hackathon is around some very active, very practical subjects. So we see here, for example, we have those main subjects for this year. We have the subject about agile and proactive digital government. So we know the digital transformation, the digital government, the smart government. So how to make it even smarter, more agile, more proactive, this is a very important thing. So you see now, we're talking about action. We're not talking only about innovation. We're talking about action that is useful, valuable for our people, our citizens. So proactivity and agility in the digital government. We have another theme, which is about the financial services. How to make the financial services more performing through fintech, through technology. Can we turn it in? Can we use the technology to make it more valuable, more efficient? This is, you see, again, this is something in action. Then we talk about the digital economy and how we are doing. Okay. Okay, so it seems that there was some cut. So I was talking about the economy. You know that because of the pandemic, we had this crisis all around the world, and of course, this impacted a lot our economy. So now we are thinking, can we make use of digital to become more resilient? Is this possible? So can we be more resilient so that we can survive such challenges in the future? Now we should be much stronger for future challenges, inshallah. So this is one thing. Then we have smart cities. People think about smart cities, about sustainability, how to make our cities smarter, how to make them more sustainable, more eco-friendly. Can we do that? So you see, all the themes here are not just our themes about this, what we call the action, about putting something in action, having valuable input, valuable output on our lives. Then we have the innovation in the skills and the knowledge. This is important. How can we improve our skills? We are in a very fast-moving world where actually everybody needs to upgrade their skills as much as possible, as quickly as possible. How to help people do that in an efficient way? We need to, in order to survive in this new world, you need to be very, to update your skills from time to time. And this is definitely challenging. Can we help people do this in an easy way? This is what we're thinking about. Then we talk about the society, how to make our society better. All what we're doing in this hackathon is about welfare, is about happiness, is about making our life better. Can we do it? So this is what we want to think about. Actually, I insisted on showing you again those themes so that we are all aligned about our objectives. Where do we want to go? What do we want to achieve? So can we help the society become happier, that become more cohesive? This is very important. And especially, you see, now again, because of the pandemic, we discovered that the pandemic gave also a big hit to our society. Because of the pandemic, we thought that the pandemic would help us be more cohesive, but unfortunately we discovered that we have, there is a lot of social, the social distance is becoming so larger than before between everybody in the society. So can we help remedy this a little bit? This is when we have the communication. Now we are communicating differently. Every day there is a new way of communication. Nowadays, I think that the email may disappear at some point in time. I think that maybe some of the youth, they never use the email. They use all other means of communication, but never the email. Maybe the email is only used in the enterprises. So these days. And even in the enterprises, people start looking for other means of communication. So can we use other means to make our life easier, to communicate in an easier way, in a swift way? So it seems that these days, for example, email is not a swift way of communicating. There are other ways, better ways to communicate. Can we do that? I don't know. So this is up to you. This is really up to you to help us about it. Okay, so these are the themes. How we are going to implement those themes. How can we help the society, the hackathon? How can we help about the wellness and the happiness and well-being around those themes? So actually, we are proposing to you some technologies, actually. It's not, I'm trying to move to the next slides. So please, the gentleman would help me about that because it seems a bit blocked. Yeah. So you see, now, of course, there are a lot of technologies, many technologies. There are many technologies that can help us. So how are we going to use the technologies in order to help us achieve our objectives about those themes? This is what we want this is what we expect from you. Themes that we want to put in action so that we can create a value to the society. How we do that? We have a panoply of technologies that we can use. Examples, these are just examples. We have some major technologies here, and I believe that Engineer Aboud presented to you maybe 20 more. So, of course, you know about the Internet of Things, how we are going to connect the Internet, how to use Internet of Things, how to use sensors, how to use things that are going to talk together in order to improve, maybe to help one of those themes. You have the big data, the artificial intelligence, blockchain, all those technologies. So this is really what we expect from you. Now you understand the themes, how we are going to use those new technologies, and maybe some new technologies will emerge. So those technologies, you are not confined only to those. So there's some new technology will emerge. The hackathon this year will be evaluated on those criteria. When we look at those criteria, we discover the value of this hackathon. We want to, every year, there is a an improvement in the hackathon compared to the previous year. We gain experience, you give us your experience, and every year we raise the challenge bar for us. So this year we have raised the challenge bar for us and for you, because we want to make it much better. So we'll discover here that we have few points that we want to talk about. So for example, here we have an item related to the data. Again, the data for happiness. And I want you to concentrate on that a little bit. This is about happiness. You see here, there is a 15% talking about happiness. And here we have 15% talking about quality, the quality and usability, how you make it easy for the users to use their solution. So this is not only about, and this is also related to happiness. This is related to well-being, welfare. So how are we going to make, is your solution easy to use? Or maybe this is not, if the solution is not easy, people just drop it. So in order to make it usable, it needs to be really the UX, the user interface, the quality of the solution needs really to be very good. Of course, we will be judging people on their innovation and creativity, how they are using this innovation. And actually, we tap on this. That's why we run these hackathons with you, the youth, because of the innovation and creativity you have, the diversity that you have. So we expect a lot on this matter also. Then, of course, as mentioned, you have a problem you want to solve, and you will need to use technology. How are you going to use the technology in order to solve those problems? Did you make a good use of the technology to solve the problem? Yes or no? This is important. And most importantly, the last item here, which is really about the value, the benefit, the impact you're making. Are you making a real impact on this? Yes or no? So this is really major, the impact, the value. This is not only about innovating. So that I just remind you, the title of the talk, we mentioned that this is innovation in action. So maybe you could provide us with huge innovation. This is great. Definitely, this is definitely great. This is what we want this innovation to be in action. So this innovation must provide some benefits, some real impact, so that we can really say that this was successful. An innovation that doesn't have a great impact, we'll see that most probably this is incomplete. This could be very good, but incomplete. Okay, so that's why I'm just presenting to you the themes so that we get aligned. We understand our objectives so that our objectives are clear for all of us. Our themes, we need to use technology in order to reach those themes, and we need to take into consideration all those aspects for our success. Okay. Again, I'm sorry, guys, I'm not able to. Yeah. So let's start talking about the technology and innovation. Technology. So now we understand the technology, that we need to use technology. We need to use our innovation in order to put it in practice and in action. Before going deeper to that, I want to explore with you a few blogs here. This is one blog. It's talking about blockchain. So blockchain is definitely one of the technologies that you may use to solve some of the problems. If you want to treat some problems regarding security aspects, regarding transparency, regarding traceability, you may need to use blockchain. But please, I wanted to share something with you. Please look at that. This article says, why enterprise blockchain projects fail. It seems that although blockchain is a very important technology, but it seems also that there are many failures, and those are quite many failures. As you can see here, the failures are up to 92% of the projects. Can you imagine? up to 92% of the blockchain projects fail. This is really amazing. This is really dramatic. Really dramatic. 92% of the projects fail. Yeah, so maybe this is about the blockchain. So let's look at another technology maybe. When we talk about big data, data science, data analytics, we see here something also strange. We discover that Gartner says that 85% of the big data projects fail, that 87% of data science projects fail. And even though they were not very optimistic about the future, they thought that maybe by 2022 now, only 20% of the projects will deliver business outcomes. Please read this. Expected technology, 85% failure, 87% failure, and expectations, even the projection of expectations about the future is only about 20%, not very large. So it seems there is another challenge. What is happening? Blockchain, AI, data science, big data, strange. What is happening here, guys? And here we see about, again, same numbers. This is about AI and AI projects and big data, about 85% failure. Somebody will say, what this negative guy is coming here? Why is this, you bring this negative guy here? Guys, I don't want to be negative. I just want to be realistic with you. I just want to try to help you be extremely successful. I want you to avoid such things. So we want to understand why those failures. You know, some of those failures, maybe one of those is a little bit funny. So please, can you just click for me this? Muslim, gentlemen, can you please click this for me? Difficult? Does it work? No, so no problem. So just return that. No, I just wanted to show you, but it seems I failed to do it to run this video. There was a video here about some artificial intelligence. And the artificial intelligence, just to let you know, so this was about the artificial cameraman for football matches. So it seems that what was funny about it is that there is an artificial cameraman. So there is no real cameraman, but this is just a robot doing that. And the purpose was to be able to track the ball, the action, the movement of the ball on the pitch. And if we succeed to do this, to run this at the end, we'll discover that because the linesman was bald, actually, it discovered that the algorithm failed to track the ball, and the algorithm was just following the bald head of the linesman. And the match was ruined, actually. People couldn't follow the match. They were able only to follow the linesman, but no match. Why? Because they used some artificial intelligence without a lot of intelligence. That's it. So this happens. So some also algorithms, AI algorithms, fail. We discover many algorithms failing. You know, 2 years ago, when we had this issue about Floyd as colored people, it's a problem. By that time, we discovered that artificial intelligence was a little bit sexist, and it was against females. We discovered that algorithms, for example, choosing people in the HR algorithms that would select the best candidates for a job, were biased against to the males against females. So we discovered some unintelligence in our AI. What is the problem? So why are those technologies failing? this is really what we want to go together. Because if you want to put innovation in action, if you don't understand the challenges, we may fail in the same traps. So why are those failing? So actually, by following all those, you'll discover, by following all those articles, by discussing these with the people who ran those projects that didn't succeed, we'll discover that there is a challenge. The challenge is really, as I put here on the title, this is about they missed to validate. To validate what? They missed to validate some points. People who were responsible for those projects missed to validate very important project points about their projects. And the very important point, the very first point, is about the what. What is the problem they are trying to solve? It looks maybe strange. They don't know what is the problem they want to solve? No. Sometimes they really pick a problem that is not interesting for anybody. Nobody wants to solve this problem. So when they start solving this problem, of course, this is a failure because nobody will use their solution. So is this problem a real problem? That is really one of the challenges. Have you chosen the right problem? Maybe the problem you've chosen is minor, is not very impactful. No, maybe you are the only guy impacted by this problem, but not the majority of the people. So if you resolve it, you will not find somebody to use their solution. So this is about the problem. And we discovered in some cases, people who ran those failed projects, they failed to do the validation about the who, the customer or the beneficiary, people who will be using, who are suffering from this problem. How comes? It happens, again, as I mentioned to you, maybe you choose a problem that you are the only customer for it, but there are no other customers. Have you thought about who are your customers? Who are the guys, are their pains? Do you know really their pains? Exactly. I don't know. In many cases, unfortunately, we discovered that this is happening even with very, very large companies. Problem and customer. By the way, we cannot dissociate a problem from customer. We cannot say the problem first or the customer first. Those two entities are most probably very well connected because a problem, a problem is observed by one of the customers or the beneficiaries. So should you start with the customer or the problem? This is egg or chicken problem. But this is really one of the biggest challenges. Are you aware who is your customer? Really, who is your customer? And what is the problem? What are the priorities of your customer? Maybe you are trying to solve a problem that is not the first priority of your customer. The customer has another problem which is much more better, higher priority. And when you solve those, sometimes some people succeed in the what, they succeed in the who, but they overlook the why. Why are you trying to solve this problem? And again, the why from which perspective? We're talking about, again, from the who, the customer perspective. What is the expectations? If you solve the problem, what are the expected outcomes from those customers? Sometimes you want to solve the problem, but they overlook the preferences of your customers. So you may solve the problem from an angle that is not beneficial for the customer. And this also will create a failure. All the projects we've seen in the artificial intelligence, in the blockchain, had some sort of those problems. If you read the articles from Forbes about the blockchain, you discover that they discover that people using the blockchain are complicating the solutions through the blockchain. Sorry. Instead of making the life of the users easier, they have used the blockchain and make their lives much more complicated. If this is much more complicated, should you use the solution? Are you going to use the solution? I don't think so. Nobody will use the solution. So this is very important. And for the artificial intelligence, sometimes we say we want to use artificial intelligence. Is this going to be useful for people or not? You know, many times, when we go to the restrooms, in the hotels, in the supermarkets, you know, when you go, the water is going to make a better water consumption. How many times did it behave against the expected outcomes? How many times do you try to wash your hands and there is no water? How many times you expected the tap to close and the water is leaking for 2-3 minutes? What is this? Most probably the technology here was an adverse. So how do you use technology to make your life easier, not more complicated, actually? And in some cases, some companies, some projects, they succeed in the what, the who, and the why, but unfortunately, they fail to deliver, to execute. So maybe something happened wrong in the execution. You know, many of those projects for the digital transformation, many of the projects during the last 2 years, we had challenges around the digital transformation in UAE. And sometimes we had challenges regarding the adoption, how to improve the adoption of digital services in the UAE. Sometimes we overlooked some problems with elderly people, for example, that the technology was there, but they were not used to it. They were not used to use the devices and so on. So this was problematic. So maybe we did a very good job understanding the problem, understanding the customer, the value expected, but unfortunately, we didn't understand a specific about the customer that made it not you, that made the customer escape from the solution. But after the pandemic, everybody used smart services. So maybe we needed to find a way. So sometimes you need to find a way about the execution. So again, I'm trying to move forward. So enough about failure. Please, enough about failure. We are fed up about that. We want to talk about success, how to turn failure into success. This is what we want to talk about now. So first thing first, you need to start by the customer, the problem, and the value. And you can see here that the customer is a very big circle in the middle. This is what you want to focus on. Who is your customer? What they are suffering from? What value they are expecting? If you are able to solve this very first challenge, you are on your way for success. Unfortunately, if you don't spend enough time on this, most probably you are planning for your next failure. So that's why we talked about failures, not to frustrate you, but to pronounce suffering from, and what are they expecting? Please help me move to the next slide. Hello, please help me move to the next slide. No, not this one. Again, so, yeah, before moving to this one, yeah, this is right. This is not the wrong slide. I want you to review again this criteria of evaluation of your success in the hackathon. You know those percentages. Please, we'll see that. So you need to focus first on the who, your customer, what pains they have, and what value they are expecting from you. And you'll see that, sorry, according to the evaluation criteria, there is 60% about the evaluation criteria is about solving these three questions. Why? Because 30% is about the benefit those customers are getting, which is really this why, and this about the happiness, and this is about the usability. So everything is about the value expected from those customers. And the value, still the customer here is the biggest circle, because this is what we want to focus about, the value from the customer perspective. So, I'm sorry. This is the first part of the formula for your success. Second part, only then, and please concentrate on that, only when you have resolved those questions, you may begin working on the how, on the execution. And that's why you'll see that from the evaluation criteria, there is another 40% here, which is about the how. But you can see now that the majority of the evaluation is really about the value. If you are not able to deliver a value, and you are very innovative, you are very creative, use the most appropriate technologies, unfortunately, you won't be very successful. You may have some success, but not a very big success. So success is about delivering value. So how to do this in practice? So how we are going to do this in practice? This is what we want to go through. Can you help me? Sorry. How to do this in practice? We want to go through this. There is a process. There is a simple process that we want to follow. Many people are following if you want to design a new solution. The process is about 5 stages here. It says that the first stage, you need to empathize. You need to try to understand and the problem of your customer. You may start defining the problem. After you understood the problem, defined it, you may only at this point start working on the solution. Unfortunately, many of the failures that happened in the past happened because people thought about a solution that people didn't want, as I told you. So they started talking about the solution, working on the solution, rather than working on the problem, understanding the problem. So that's why we want to empathize, to try to understand, put ourselves in the shoes of the customer, to understand the problem, to define it well, then to think about ideating, try to think about solutions that could help. Then try to test, to prototype, try to make some prototypes, some models, to test this with the customer. If this is okay, we may go for the final test, and we may go to a product or service. But before that, we need to go for all those steps. So, again, all those steps are, again, around our customer. This is this very important component. We want to validate everything about our customer. So, all those stages, we need to work them from the perspective of the customer. That's why you see here, we need to validate, to check if this is okay with the customer or not okay with the customer. Every stage, before moving to the next stage, the following stage, we need to make sure that this stage is agreed by the customer, that I understood well their problems. So we discover, again, you see, this is how it looks like. Your customer is there at every stage. You want to check. You want to make sure, you say, I'm going to put myself in the shoes of the customer. Did I understand well the customer problems? So how to check? The only way is to go down and validate with the customer. If the customer says, no, unfortunately didn't understand well my problem, so you need to return back and try to re-understand, to look again at the problem and try to understand it further. If the customer says, yes, you understood well my problem, so you are now in a good position to move to the next step. The next step, which is really defining further the problem. So now it is a problem at large. Here you need to define the problem in more detail. When you start defining the problem in more detail, so again, do you move to the ideation? No. If you do so, maybe you design a solution that is not requested by the customer. So before moving to the prototyping or the modeling, you need to go for the ideation. You need to go, otherwise, okay. So again, once we succeeded in this with the customer, we may move to the definition. And we said here the difference between this empathize and the definition, here it's you understand the problem at large. So what is the problem at large? About what is the problem you want to resolve? It's a very high level. Then once you get it, you try to dig into the details of the problem to define it in detail. Now, again, should we start working on the solution? No, never. You need to check again with your stakeholder, your customer. So you start, if he says no, you have to revisit this stage. If he says yes, this is a very good sign. So you may move now to start thinking about possible solutions to this problem. So you see here, everything is about our customer. This process is centered around our customer. So now I start thinking about few solutions, but now you are used to it. I will not be able to move to the modeling or prototyping unless I go and check with my customer. Again, if he doesn't like it, I need to repeat. If it's okay, I'm confident now that I can move to modeling. So I say, okay, you like this solution? I'll try to model it, to try to make a test. I'll try to make a demo. I'll try to make maybe, a prototype or a skeleton, or maybe I'm trying to have a demo website or a demo application or a fake model or a video that displays what I'm going to do, just to show to the customer how you intend to present your solution. And then, again, as usual, about this model, you need to reiterate to see if the customer, this is really meets the expectations of your customers or not. This is about the value. Maybe everything, the problem here, this is about understanding the problem, defining the problem, try to find the solution. But here you start about the expectations of the customer. So if the expectations are met, this is a very good sign. You may move to the next stage, moving from a model, which is not an expensive thing to work on. Maybe you work on a video, you work on a draft, a drawing, a sketch, you work on a fake app that is just a demo app, doesn't have the back end, just showing the different, how you navigate the pages, blah, blah, blah. And you test it with your customer. The customer is happy. So this is, I will try to test my version of the product. And that's why we may reach here a very important milestone. This milestone, what we call the minimum viable product. The minimum viable product is not a prototype, is not a model. This is a real product or service. This is something, your first product that is acceptable by the customer, that is doable, that you can implement, and that is sellable. If this is not accepted, so this is not a minimum viable product. If this is not doable, so you cannot do it, so it is not an MVP anymore. And if this is not sellable, so maybe it succeeded to be acceptable, it is doable, but maybe it is not sellable because it's too expensive, unaffordable. The customer cannot find it. So it must be acceptable, doable, and sellable. If this is so, this means you have your very first product. And we call it the minimum viable product because it's a very simple one. It's not a complicated one. So this is the minimum viable product. So all this sequence was in order to be able to deliver a product that understood well the problem that the customer had and delivered the expected outcome, the value expected by our customer. If you do follow this process, I expect that you have a great chances of success. Is this all? No, it's not all. We need to complement that by some work. This is what I wanted to show you. A prototype or a model is just a sketch. The minimum viable product is the very first version of your product, a very simple version, having the core elements. It doesn't have any specific advanced features. So this is the very core elements, the minimum that is accepted by the customer. So it doesn't mean that it is minimum, that it is very simplistic. The minimum is confined by, is conditioned by, accepted by the customer. Because maybe you think this is minimum, but this is, for the customer, this is not minimum, this is insufficient. So you need to be sure that what you think as minimum is acceptable, doable, and sellable. Then you see that after this, you may move to a better product or service which has further enhancements. So it is essential now. The what, the who, the why, and the how. Those 4 questions will be essential when you start designing your solution. And these are actually those elements. These are the elements, what we talk, the elements of a business model. So if you want to run a project, if you want to run a company, a startup, or whatever type of business, what the business model. So those key axes, the key elements of success for what you call for a business. A business model is how you are going to succeed in running your business. So in order to succeed in running your business, you need to be confident about answering those 4 questions. You have a well-defined problem for a well-defined customer, and you understand exactly the expectations and the value expected from those customers once you solve this problem. Once you solve those 3 questions, you may be able to move to the 4th pillar, which is the how, the execution. These are the 4 main elements of a business model. Actually, there is another interpretation of the business model, an extended one for those questions. So you see here beneath, we have the 4 questions we are talking about, and we have this, what we call the canvas. This is what we call the lean canvas, and I have added to it this block, which is key partners. So this is one of the representations to be able to develop further to help you develop better your questions here. If you want to succeed, you need to be able to resolve those questions about your problem. What are the questions? So the what, the problem is very clear. We have here a block about the what. So please put here clearly your problem. State here your problem in a very clear way. The customer, we have a block here for our customers. We need to understand very well who are our customers, very precisely. What do you mean very precisely? You don't say, I offer a solution for ladies. Maybe you offer a solution for ladies. But how old are those ladies? Do you offer a solution for ladies who, I don't know, for kids, or for ladies at working ladies, non-working ladies, married ladies, widowed? I don't know. What are those ladies? So you need to be very specific about your customers, as specific as possible. As specific as possible. You know why? Because if you are offering a solution and you don't understand exactly your customer, this is exactly, I like always to give an example about a friend of yours tells you, if you want to have an amazing dinner, please go to restaurant XYZ in this area. And you go to, based on this recommendation, you go to restaurant XYZ, and when you go there, there is something strange. The XYZ doesn't have split areas for smoking versus non-smoking people. So all the area is mixed. If you are a non-smoking person with excellent food, excellent service, but you have your neighbor who is smoking, would you repeat this amazing experience? The restaurant example, they told me I need to repeat it. You are going to, your friend recommended to you a new restaurant who has an amazing menu, an amazing food service. You go to the restaurant, you enter the restaurant and you order food, you discover this is really amazing. But unfortunately, something happens. You discover that there is no split between smoking and non-happen. You are a non-smoker. The food is great. The service is, would you repeat this? And if your friend is a smoking guy and he's coming also to this restaurant and he discovers that he wants to smoke and he discovers that their neighbors are coughing all the time, are complaining all the time, are unhappy, would the smoker repeat this experience again? Unfortunately not. Why? Because the guy who offered this service didn't choose the customers clearly. So one customer will kill the other, unfortunately. So although this is an excellent restaurant offering excellent food at excellent, but unfortunately, it didn't understand me as a customer properly. I'm a non-smoker. I want a non-smoking place. So this is one of, unfortunately, I will not accept. Oh, I will not revisit you again. So we need to understand here exactly who what is the problem you want to resolve. Who are your customers? And here, what we call about the value proposition, value proposition is really what is expected from your customer. What value is expected? This is extremely important. It's not only about the problem. It's not only about the customer expectations and value. So now only you may move to the how, and all the rest of the blocks are about the how. You have a solution. You think about a solution, but please, here there is a block called solution. So you are going to implement your solution here. You think about the problem and about these, for example, someone is suffering from this problem. You understand the expected outcomes, expected value. So you start thinking about solutions. You say, I'm going to build a solution based maybe on a little bit of artificial intelligence, a little bit of Internet of Things, blah, blah, blah. So why do I need the rest of the blocks? All the rest of the blocks help you do a good job about the how. Without the rest of the blocks, maybe you have something missing about the how. For example, we have here something called, when you say the problem, you see here, it is asking about existing alternatives. It is very important. If the people have a problem in a certain place, are there any solutions? For example, people suffer from finding their parking areas when they go to the mall. So I'm going to, I think about, I have a very good solution to that. Before thinking about that, do you know if there are any other existing solutions? Have you thought about that? And if there are any existing solutions, why should you do your own solution? Your own solution should be probably there are some defects here that you are going to resolve or what? So this is a first checkpoint for the how. Do you know also competitors or maybe other ways of doing things. Unfair advantage is about your competitive advantage. What makes you different from the competition? The unfair advantage here. If I'm going to have a solution, this is about checking your competition again. This is about checking the alternatives and checking if solving this problem from this new perspective, do you have any competitors doing that? What if you have a very good solution, but you have nothing special that differentiates you makes you stand out of the competition? Do you think anybody will come to your solution? Most probably not. So if you don't check this, you are in trouble. Unless maybe you say that I'm at par with the others. So this means you have equal chance. You have equal chance. You don't have a very good, great chance, but you have equal. You are in trouble. You have made a solution that will not survive. So is your solution can your solution survive? This is about your unfair advantage. And actually, we know on an AZ, this is a post call, and every day you need to update it. Maybe you need to, when you want to update those blocks, maybe use post-its in order to update the blocks. And the unfair advantage, this business model is a living element. What this means, living element? This means it's not a static, it's a very dynamic one. Today, maybe you are at par with other companies, but maybe tomorrow somebody else have something more, a competitive advantage over you. So you need to resolve it. Or maybe today I have a clear competitive advantage over my competitors. But maybe 2 months later, my competitors are adopting the same. So I am in trouble. This means that I don't have any privilege. So this means I may lose my market share or my customers. So I need to be very vigilant about it. So that's why you need to follow those blocks very carefully, dynamically. Other blocks that can help you. How can I channels? How am I going to reach my customers? How am I going to deliver a solution, the solution to my customers in order to fulfill these value proposition? And that's why you need to think about how you're going to reach your customers, how you're going to reach new customers, how you are going to maintain existing customers, how you are going to boost the relation with existing customers. So this channel is all about that. Reaching them, recruiting the first customers, retaining the existing customers, and boosting the relations with existing customers. How can you do that? Can you do that through artificial intelligence, through statistics, in order to understand better your customers, better their preferences, to understand? So, for example, when you go on Netflix and you have a recommender engine, this is one of the jobs of the recommender engine. Through the recommender engine, you feel that Netflix is understanding you well. They recommend to you a movie that is in your preferences, that is not coming from the blue, out of the blue. So this is a movie that is according to your preferences, to what you like, what you dislike, blah, blah, blah. So they offer something that suits you. So how are you, maybe you can use artificial intelligence here, maybe you can use some analytics here in order to make sure that you reach your customers better. So this is still very important. Here, when you think about your customers, if you have multiple solutions, you see here something called about the early adopters. Do you know how are you going to? Most probably the one that you would choose is the one with early adopters, because this gives you a better chance to reach your customers and sell your solution. If you don't have those early adopters, this becomes more challenging. Maybe the solution has a lot of competition, and another solution you want, another problem you want to resolve has less competition. So this is about how to choose among different problems you want to resolve or different solutions you want to offer. Everything here is okay. Key partners is very important. Can any partner help you deliver this solution quicker? You don't have to deliver you don't have to deliver the solution on your own. This is very wrong. We are living among other people. So working in teams, working with other partnerships. Can you partner with another guy who can help you market better your solution? Please, you need to identify who can help you succeed with your solution. For partners, maybe for some, maybe for the core work, maybe for the marketing, maybe for the sales, maybe for importing some technology, some skills, blah, blah, blah. How are you going to do that? You need to think about it. If you succeed in all that, this could still be not very successful. Why? There is an important question. Your business model, is it financially sustainable for you? You may have an amazing solution, delivering an amazing value proposition to a customer that is really meeting their expectations. You have done a great job, but unfortunately, you cannot generate money out of this solution. Or you generate money, but your costs are much higher, so you cannot sustain it. So this very good solution, you'll have to kill it by yourself. Nobody will kill it for you. You will have to kill it, unfortunately. So it is very important to think, how am I going to generate revenue out of this solution? To think about all possible ways of generating revenue, not only the direct way. If we think about Uber, Uber is generating direct revenue, for example, from by taking a share from the trip fees from the drivers. But this is not, this is the one of the revenue streams. But Uber is using multiple other revenue streams in order to improve their model. For example, they have a lot of data about the insights about their customers. They may resell this data to some shops, to Uber Eats, to others. So they have the first stage, then profitable. And of course, as we mentioned, the revenue stream. So you may think about the cost structure. What cost structure are you going to adopt? What are the main cost elements that you have to go through? If there are some major ones that you need to watch carefully, because if you have huge costs, maybe you will not be able to, even if you have good revenue streams, maybe this will not be at balance. So maybe you will be still a deficit. So you need really to watch those carefully. Then a final element comes here, the key metrics. You have made your good job. You have made your homework. You made a great effort understanding the problem, watching carefully the alternatives, watching carefully also the competitors, what they are doing, understanding your customers, of course, and understanding the expected value by your customers. Then you started thinking about a solution. You started thinking about the unfair advantage out of the competition or protect you. You thought about proper channels to reach your customers. You've done everything well, and you've thought about very good revenue streams. Then, as this is a living element, remains here another important block. How are you going to follow and make sure that you are not diverting? You know, when you want to go from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, you may go to Dubai to Abu Dhabi, but if you miss your way, maybe you find yourself elsewhere. Maybe you find yourself in Sharjah, I don't know. You missed your way. So from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, am I still on my direction to Abu Dhabi? This is the value of this block about the key metrics. Am I going the right, am I still on towards my objective? So you can set some objectives for you to see if you are doing well about this business model, if you are implementing this properly, internally, and if this is well accepted externally. So about the value proposition again. So you need to check what you have done here, what you have implemented. Is this fulfilling the customer requirements? For example, I'm Uber here. I say, I want to check that my channels are working properly to help me reach my customers, to improve, to acquire new customers, to be able to retain my current customers, and so on. But do I deliver a value proposition that is well accepted by my customer, that is meeting their expectations? For example, this is one of the things that Uber implements in the key metrics. Maybe they implement this rating system, whereby they are able to rate if the users are happy about my service or not. Maybe I discovered, but suddenly that my ratings are coming down. So this means that most probably I drifted from my original direction. What is happening? I need to investigate. So that's why the metrics will help you understand if you are on the right direction or not, internally and externally. If you do all this, you are most probably in a very good position to be very successful, inshallah. So can we move forward? Okay, summary. They're asking me for a summary here. To summarize, we have 4 key questions that we want to answer. The what? I want to make sure that I understand the problem. So that's why here, I want to make sure that I stated very well my problem. The problem of who? Of this customer. Very well detailed, very specific customer. Is this sufficient? No. I need to understand what are the expectations from this customer if I resolve this problem. What value is expected by those guys? This is what I put here. If I have answered those 3 blocks, this means that I have answered those 3 questions. So now I can move to the how, which is the rest of the blocks. So I can start thinking about which solution, which technologies I'm going to use in order to deliver this value proposition, the purpose of the solution, how to deliver this value proposition to this customer in order to resolve this problem. So I think here about technologies. Should I use big data? Should I use blockchain? And as mentioned, you use it when you need it. You don't use it because you want to use blockchain. If you do so, this is, as mentioned, this is one of the failure points. But use blockchain because this will add to your for your solution to be more secure, more transparent, for example. So you have to solve this. You think about the channels. Which channels are you going to use in order to deliver this value proposition to your customers? This is about the delivery channels. Are you going to do this through an app, through a mobile, through face-to-face? How are you going to do that? If you do that, how are you going to capture new customers? If you capture new customers, how are you going to retain them? And if you retain them, how are you going to make them more happy? This is the value of this channel. So you'll discover that maybe some technologies will help you do this better. Some technologies also, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and will help you understand better your customer, segment your customer properly. This could be used here. So once you've done that, you may think about the revenue streams. How are you going to generate money in order to make this overall business model first sustainable, then profitable? Means that you're very successful at satisfying your customers, but unfortunately you cannot pay for the solution. So revenue streams, the cost structure, what are the main cost elements you will incur in order to deliver this overall solution? Finally, your solution is good, but it may drift. So that's why you need to have the key metrics, sort of metrics, in order to help follow up if you are going on the right direction or not. So you should set some metrics, some measures internal to understand if you are performing well you are delivering well your system or not. And the other one, external, which is how your customers are evaluating you. That's why I gave an example of Uber, for example. Maybe you've done a great job to deliver an outstanding solution to your customers, but you want to check, for example, if the customers are happy or not. So, so for example, you add some rating. So the rating, and you see, according to the ratings, if the customers are still happy. Maybe a problem happened last month, and you discover that the rating is coming down. So this is an alarm. So there'll be an alarm that will help you modify this business model in order to meet the expectations of the customer and be sustainable. This is again a living element. You need to follow. Maybe you have put some key metrics this month. Maybe next month you need to upgrade the key metrics in order to adapt to some new challenges because of the pandemic. New challenges are happening. Okay. So this is the business model. So if we move forward, this is about it. We need to understand very well those questions, and those 4 questions are more elaborate here. In order to reach those, we needed to follow the design approach here about understanding, and which is customer-centric. See, this is customer. So everything on those 3 figures is about the value, actually, is about delivering this block. If you are not able to deliver this block, you're not successful. If you are not able to deliver also this block, you're not successful. So you need to be valuable for your customers, and you need to be valuable for yourself. If you are not able to be valuable for yourself and for your customers, this is a wrong solution. You will need to abort it, unfortunately. And that's it. And I expect you to be very successful, inshallah. We've seen amazing solutions last 2 years. Before that, we have seen also many solutions, but this is what I witnessed personally, amazing solutions for the last 2 years. We expect this year to be really outstanding, as usual, inshallah. So, I believe that you are you up to these extending solutions and proposal this year as usual? I don't know if you have any questions. I'm all yours. Okay. Thank you very much. See you, inshallah, with your amazing solutions. Assalamu alaikum.